Hello and welcome to Powerful PowerPoint. In this session, I'll be covering Designer. Designer is a feature in PowerPoint that helps you create professional looking slides with minimal effort. Designer, also known as Design Ideas, automatically suggests designs based on the current content of your slides, such as layouts, colors, fonts, icons, and images. You can choose from the suggested design ideas or customize them to suit your preferences. It can help you create polished presentations by offering suggestions for themes, transitions, animations, and more. And Designer is available across all platforms such as Windows, Mac, iOS, Android, and the web. Now, let's get properly into it. And as you can see, I have a deck here, which is, to say the least, pretty plain. And I've got two sections in here, one about the Earth, and other about learning and working remotely. And as you can see, I have my slide here. I've got a title, I've got an image, and this is a bit of a plain opening slide. To improve it and make it look just that bit better, we can use Designer. So if I go over into the top and I click on Designer, as you can see, it pops up a pane on the right hand side. And as you see, there are quite a few suggestions that we can choose from. So if I was to choose this one, for example, you can see I now have the word planet Earth, and then I have the Earth in the background, and it's got a bit more of an impact than having the white space on the slide previously. Now, if we move over onto the agenda, now this is where you start seeing some variations in what designer suggests to you depending on what you put as the contents on your slide. And as you see, I've got an agenda and I have some items for that. If I click on this one, for example, you see it lays it out in a unique manner and it tries to associate some potential icons against the words that you have put in your agenda list. You can also change these icons, to which I would advise you to do so, because it isn't always 100% linked to what you want it to show or be against. But just for the purpose of this, these are just a couple layout examples. As you see here, it's got black text on a black background. For example, one of the ways you can customize it yourself is to select that text and change it to a white colored font. And as you see, you can now see the text as well. So this is just one other way you can use Designer to customize your slides. Let's move over to the challenges one, because as you see here, there's a bit more text than we had on the agenda slide. And I'm going to just pop over to Designer again. And as you see, it's got some things and ideas here. So we could have a rotational sort of go around in a circle of some of the challenges. But I don't really want it to be like a process sort of thing with the smart art. So you can obviously scroll down and you can see there's a couple more text options. And there's even option of even having a recycle slash sustainability icon being included based on the context of what is in the content. And if ever you get to the bottom and there isn't anything you like, you can click see more design ideas. And as you see, it will present you with a couple more design ideas that you wouldn't have seen previously, such as this one. And as you see, this Earth section, I want it to be a very black theme across in terms of background. And now I've got that matched across all three of my Earth slides. Now, if I move over to the Learn section of the deck, you can see I have the same as we had with Earth, and it's pretty simple. I want something like this, how we learn, and as per usual, you can always customize this to how you want. I want it to be centered in the text box rather than to one side, you can customize that as well. As you can see here, we also have a brief description of information that we want to walk through and talk through. One of the best practices with your slides and presentations is minimal text on the presentation, and all the information and description around it needs to come from you whilst you're presenting or whoever's presenting on that slide, because we can all read, so we will read what's ever there, and if you put everything on there, your audience won't really listen to you. But if we go back to looking at designer, for example, you see it's got these sort of text box in a smart art arrangement. Let's say I want this one, for example, and I like the way that looks. You can click that. And as you see, we have the smart art and we also have the text options as well, which are outside of that, but it's predominantly smart art when it comes to bullet points that you will see often with designer. Now, this one's a bit more of an interesting one because it's got pros and cons on the slide. Now, as you see, it's done a very good job in finding some potential design ideas that we might want to work with, such as this, the title in the bold top centralized, and having a split in between your pros and cons. Or you can see there's other arrangements we have here, such as pros on one side, cons on the other, but that is just a suggestion. And let's say I'm happy with this one, I can leave it as that as well. And then finally, as you see, I have an image and I have some text and my title of routine. And as you see, there's quite a few that I can look at. And as you see, it's also suggested some of the things that we can do in putting it into smart art. Now, smart art is one of the things that it will always try to do by default with bullet points. So if you see them a lot and you're a little frustrated, don't be. It's PowerPoint's way of trying to present your data in a more engaging manner. But let's say I want this one, for example, because it actually looks quite well and it's looks like I've condensed the information that I want to talk through with the routine. And now, as you can see, we have a definite massive improvement over the amount of white space and plain space with the text and bad arrangements of images. Now, a couple pieces of advice with using Designer is don't put too much text, don't put too many images. As soon as you clutter it with 6 or 7 images, that is where you will start to see issues, and Designer will not be able to give you the best sort of ideas and arrangements of slides. And that means you can't get the best out of it that you need to make your slides still look professional and in a presentable manner. Stay tuned for more powerful PowerPoint.